name is Luke,
My name is Ryan.
and we're just gonna kind of hang out together, shoot the breeze, rank our top Disney attractions, all 94 of them. We'll see kind of how our lists match up.
Yeah. So just to clarify, these are every single attraction at Walt Disney World. That includes rides, parades, fireworks, everything. But I do not think this doesn't include like just your typical character meet and greets. So it's sort of anything that has some kind of infrastructure where it's like a permanent thing. Yeah. So without further ado, Luke, hit me with your worst 4 attractions at Walt Disney World.
Okay, so when I was making this list, I'm missing one that I don't know which one it is, but I'll find out as we go along. But it's probably not a good one, so that one might be my new number 94. But right now, I have the Beauty and the Beast sing-along, Prince Charming Carousel, Star Wars Launch Bay, and the Pixar Short Film Festival as my 4 worst in Walt Disney World. What's yours?
All right, so my worst 4 coming in at 94, Beauty and the Beast sing-along, 93, Star Wars Launch Bay, 92, Disney Junior Dance Party, and 91, Mickey Shorts Theater. Yeah, so I really don't have a lot to say about the bottom 4. Beauty and the Beast sing-along by far is the worst. I mean, first of all, I'm not a big fan of them just putting characters in the World Showcase at Epcot. And this is like the worst kind of example of that because like at least with like the Frozen ride and with the like the Ratatouille ride that they're building, at least like it's really top quality. Like it's like at least like worthy to be in the World Showcase, but this show is just like it's just like a retelling of the movie, and it's really just embarrassing. And also too, Star Wars Launch Bay is like exemplifies everything that I hate about the parks too, because it's just like a shopping mall where you can just buy Star Wars merch, even though like the Galaxy's Edge is open now. Yeah. So okay. So yeah. Tell us a little bit about your bottom 4 and why you chose those.
Okay, so same thing with Beauty and the Beast. It's not good. It feels like a DVD bonus features kind of thing. And the title for me is misleading because there's a Frozen sing-along that has live actors that's 100 times better.
For sure.
And so you might go into this if you don't know and be like, oh, this might be similar to that other show, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, it's like, oh, I could have watched that on Disney Plus.
Or
or skipped it, or just watch Beauty and the Beast, and you'll have a better time.
Right.
Same thing, the Launch Bay. Why do we need it? It was fine back when we didn't have Galaxy's Edge,
Right.
but now that we have it, I don't feel really the need to be going in there to meet characters. The carousel I put down there just because I always forget about it. I know it's like an iconic view and stuff, but to me, it's just a carousel. And then the Pixar Short Film Festival, literally all of those shorts you can watch on Disney Plus, so I don't know why you'd waste your time
That's true.
watching them.
But so you like the Mickey Shorts Theater in Hollywood Studios better than the Pixar one in Epcot?
Yeah, because I can't watch that one on Disney Plus.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the photo ops that they have at the theater, too, is pretty cool.
The photo ops, yeah. I don't know. It just feels really makeshift to me. Like it doesn't feel like a lot of effort went into it. And I don't think they're as exciting as the Pixar ones. But anyways, so let's go, Luke, from our 90 to 81. The 80s.
The 80s. So these, for me, you could pretty much put in any order. But it goes Tomorrowland Speedway, Triceratops Spin, Barnstormer, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Up, Great Bird Adventure, Awesome Planet, Disney Junior Dance Party, and Alien Swirling Saucers.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll do. You do yours, and
Yeah, I think mine is a lot along the same lines as yours, but I have at number 90, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, which that's the show at Hollywood Studios. 89, Rivers of Light. 88, Lightning McQueen Racing Academy, also Hollywood Studios. Number 87, Jedi Training Academy, Trials of the Temple. 86, Enchanted Tales with Belle. 85, Up, A Great Bird Adventure. 84, Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival. 83, Magic Carpets of Aladdin. 82, Triceratops Spin. 81, Prince Charming Regal Carousel. Yeah, so also I don't have a lot to say about these ones. I mean, you got the Spinners, Triceratops Spin, and Magic Carpets of Aladdin, which are just straight out of it, like an amusement park. Like the Triceratops Spin one is cool because it's dinosaurs. That's why I have it slightly higher than like the the Aladdin carpets. Yeah, all the other ones like Up a Great Bird Adventure is just. Again, yeah, I don't like things that just kind of shoehorn in characters, and there's so much other like better stuff at Animal Kingdom that you could be doing with your time. Like that whole park is amazing, and I don't think that one really holds up to the quality of the park. Yeah, Jedi Training Academy, like it's cool for like kids. They can go and meet Darth Vader and like. I'm sure it's a really cool experience for them, but I think for the vast majority of people, I mean, parents of the kids too. I mean, I would imagine it's an awesome experience, but for the vast majority, I don't think it's really. Yeah. So, what are your opinions of the 80s?
So, yeah, pretty much the same as like you were saying. A lot of spinners, Barnstormer. I know it's a lot of like little kids' first roller coaster, and that's cool.
Yeah, lower than mine.
But I mean, it's like 30 seconds long. So I'd rather there's way like Slinky Dog. Take your kid on that for their first coaster, and it's way better. Or Seven Dwarves. Wait, you have Awesome Planet pretty high then, or higher than I do, because I have Awesome Planet at 83.
Dude, my Awesome Planet is not. I'm not going to be mentioning that for a while. Yeah, I like that show. I like the theater, and I like how it's. I think it fits really well with the theme of Epcot. Like you're actually like kind of learning stuff, and it's not like doesn't shoehorn in characters and stuff. And I think it's perfect for Epcot.
That is nice. There's no characters. To me, it's just kind of a forgettable show. I think that's why it's so low. Because I was doing the list, I was like, oh yeah, that's a show.
So do you like the old one better?
No, the Lion King one
Yeah.
is so depressing. No, this one's better. This one's better because when I'm in a theme park, I'm cool with like learning stuff and whatever, but don't make me feel depressed. Like walking out of the theater, like, oh my god, I'm killing the earth. I like because this tone is more to me like Living with the Land kind of a tone.
Yeah, for sure.
It's optimistic, which is cool. But yeah, everything else, it's like. Like Disney Junior Dance Party. I'm sure that's fun if I had a 5-year-old kid, but I don't.
Right.
And I've never seen it in person, to be honest. So.
I have actually.
You did?
Yeah.
With a kid though, or alone?
No, just like with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that exciting.
No. Swirling Saucers is fun. It's more fun than I thought it would be, especially at night. But it's not anything. I mean, if it's a 15-20 minute wait, yeah, go for it.
Right.
But I'm not.
Why don't you hit us with your
80 to 71?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have Mickey Shorts Theater at number 80, Astro Orbiter, Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair, Rafiki's Planet Watch, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Rivers of Light, Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, The Boneyard, Enchanted Tales with Belle, and the Jedi Training.
Yeah, I think we'll have some similar ones too. So starting at 80 have Once Upon a Time, which is like that little mini show on the castle. I forget, is it before or after Happily Ever After? Yeah, I could not for the life of me remember, but it's just watch Happily Ever After. 79 Alien Swirling Saucers, 78 Barnstormer, 77 Mad Tea Party, 76 Finding Nemo the Musical, 75 Rafiki's Planet Watch, 74 Turtle Talk with Crush, 73, I think you're going to hate me for this one, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, 72 72 Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair, 71 Imagineering presents the Epcot Experience. So okay, so Imagineering presents the Epcot. It's super cool. But like it's obviously it's not going to be around for that long, and it's just like showcasing the future of Epcot. And so I feel like as soon as like all that stuff is built, it's going to lose its relevance. It's sort of like Star Wars Launch Bay, to where like it's kind of cool right now, but I don't think it's something that's going to be around for a while. And yeah, I think that's like a lot of these, I took that into consideration. Like, is this just like sort of a makeshift thing? Like Epcot Forever, sort of, the fireworks show at Epcot, it's just a temporary thing. So, like, it's never really going to get the chance to become like a classic thing, you know? Yeah, but this one, the 70s, I mean, this might be like where you could switch them up the most. Like, really, I'm not a big fan of Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. I don't really like the interactive elements of the park that much. I sort of like to just go and be entertained. So that's why I have that one so low. Same thing with Turtle Talk with Crush, basically. It's the same thing. You're talking to Crush, which is cool, but that's sort of not my jam. So that's why I have those so low. Yeah, and Mad Tea Party is cool. I think it's more classic than Alien Swirling Saucers or Triceratops Spin. That's why I have it higher. Where do you have Finding Nemo, the musical?
It's higher.
Okay.
It's not my favorite show, but just the quality of it is really good. But it is super long,
Right.
which is one thing that, like, even sometimes I forget when I go in there, like, oh, we'll pop in this show, it's about to rain, and then you forget that it's a 40-minute long show, and you're like, wow, we're going to miss our Fast Pass, everything. Yeah, I think, like, what you're saying, the 70s is, like, they could all be switched around. To me, these are attractions that, like, if you do it, you'll probably have a good time, but if you missed out on doing it, it's fine.
It's not going to make or break you.
No, and I think you wouldn't even know what you missed out on. Like, you could go home and be like, oh, we never saw Friendship Fair. Oh, well. You know, a lot of these, like Rafiki's Planet Watch is fun. The petting zoo is cool, but, like, there's petting zoos everywhere.
That's true.
Swiss Family Treehouse, I feel like, has so much potential to be cool, and I want to like it.
I have that one quite a bit higher than you.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I always want to like it, and then I start walking up there, and I'm like, what am I doing up here? Enchanted Tales with Belle, I've heard and seen videos, and it looks super awesome, but again, I don't have kids. So the storytelling thing isn't, my thing.
Yeah,
But walking through the dresser seems cool.
Yeah. I think our list obviously is going to be skewed towards more like less kid-friendly things.
Yeah.
Because we don't have kids.
We don't have kids.
But yeah, I think like Enchanted Tales with Belle, even I think there's better things for kids to do than I don't even think that's at the top of the list in terms of like kid-friendly attractions. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of these little kid things, we respect, like, what they are,
Yeah.
and they're needed in the park for sure.
Oh yeah.
Especially for, like, a 3 or 4-year-old who really can't do rides. I'm sure Enchanted Tales of Belle is
for sure.
a big thing for their day. Same with you for Monsters Inc. I don't like, I like the show when I know that we're past the parts where they're calling on people and I'm not going to be called on. Then I can relax. But for that like first few minutes,
I hate that.
I have so much anxiety. I'm like, dang it, they're going to make me act out a part of the story. But the show itself is funny. And if you're an extrovert like that, like you don't like you want to be the attention, it's your show.
For sure.
Like my brother likes it because he likes the attention.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your 70 or 70 through 61?
Yeah. All right, so starting with number 70, I have Dumbo. 69, Frozen Sing-Along Celebration. 68, Tomorrowland Speedway. 67, I think you're going to hate me for this one too, Country Bear Jamboree. 66, Journey into Imagination with Figment. 65, Astro Orbiter. 64, The Boneyard. 63, Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. 62, The Seas with Nemo and Friends. And 61, Under the Sea, The Little Mermaid Ride, which is the one at Magic Kingdom.
Okay, mine is Primeval Whirl, Hall of Presidents, Tough to Be a Bug. What? You got Hall of Presidents so high, probably? Okay.
At least higher than that.
Wow. I guess you like history class.
Come on, man, don't hate.
Tough to Be a Bug. Walt Disney Presents, which is the like little museum at Hollywood Studios, and they'll show like previews of movies.
Right.
Walt Disney Presents, The Little Mermaid Show, The Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Once Upon a Time, The Riverboat, Cali River Rapids, Figment, Beauty and the Beast, the show, the Broadway show at Hollywood Studios, and then Mission Space, both versions together.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so wait, I'll tell you why I have Hall of Presidents low. Because I know that a lot of people like it, and I think it's impressive. Like, the new projections are beautiful. The refurbishments they did to the animatronics are great. It's just that it's like it's like history class to me. And I just like American Adventure a lot better. So whenever I'm in that show, I'm like, oh man, I wish I was at Epcot.
Do you mind if I see your list real quick? There's a couple. Yeah. So you have Hall of Presidents much lower than mine. I think it's just like it is very educational heavy, but I think that's more like the stuff that I like about in the parks. Like, I like that we have things like that, and it's not just like characters all over the place. And like, I think it's good to have those sort of things in the park. And I think it's a really good show. Like, it's super impressive, like how they built like every single president of the United States.
Really cool.
Those animatronics. I think that's really cool and impressive.
They're high quality. Like
Yeah.
Lincoln standing up is cool.
Yeah. I mean, all of them are super high quality. And it's narrated by Morgan Freeman, so can't beat that. What was the one I was looking at that was super low? Oh, Walt Disney Presents. Yeah, so you have that one much lower than mine. To me, that's like one of my favorite things to do at Hollywood Studios, because I love learning about like the history of Walt Disney and stuff. So yeah, so are you just not a big fan of that one?
No, I actually really like that one, and I usually always go in there during whenever I'm at Hollywood Studios. I think it was just as I was doing the list, I kept finding more things that I wanted to put in front of it. And also thinking about someone who might not be like as much of a Disney Parks nerd as me, because I appreciate it, but I've gone through it with other people who aren't as into the history, and to them it's like a 2-minute walkthrough. They're like, oh, okay, I saw the models.
That's fair.
Oh, you can meet Sully. Let's go do that instead, you know? So I had to think about it that way, because I wanted to do the list like half my preference and half like what is objectively better.
Yeah.
Like, I can't argue that. Like, there's just things that are better than that, even though I love it in my heart.
I respect that. Oh, another thing. You have the Voyage of the Little Mermaid show. That's the one at Hollywood Studios, yeah? So I have that at 90. Do you like that show a lot?
I like it pretty good. Why do you hate it? The black light puppet part is so cool. It's definitely super dated whenever I'm in it.
It is. It's way dated.
But I think that's why I like it. Because there's some things, like when Captain EO was there, that you're like, oh, this is so bad, but I love it, and I hope they never get rid of it. And they probably will, and that's fine. It's not going to bother me like some other stuff they get rid of, but I do kind of like that you walk in and you're like, wow, this is what they did in the 90s, and they thought it was good.
Yeah. I don't know. For whatever reason, like the whole datedness thing, it doesn't bother me with rides. Like obviously because Haunted Mansion, they've updated it. Rides like that of that era, even though they've updated it, you can still easily tell like the era from which it was built. So, but with shows, I don't know. I feel like shows need to be updated more often. Like it's just a different medium, and I think this one is just way too dated, and it's kind of weird. Like, it's really, really weird, and I think there's so many other better like shows and parades that you can spend your time doing, especially now in Hollywood studios. But, anyways, yeah, hit us with your 60 through 51. I think for me, personally, this is where the list goes from kind of like bad/okay to now we're getting into like the good stuff.
Yeah, I'll agree. Like everything on here, I would say on your trip, from here on, I would tell people you should do all of these if you could. Again, there's ones that you could skip out on if you wanted to, and you'd be fine. But so my 60 starts with Tom Sawyer Island, then Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, Epcot Experience, the Star Wars fireworks, I forget the name, and Slash, the like animation thing they do before it. Yeah, it's like a string of shows, but I like it. Little Mermaid Ride, Turtles Aqua Crush, Dumbo, the Walt Disney World Railroad, Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and then Finding Nemo the musical.
Wow. There's a lot of different. Okay, yeah, ours is going to be pretty different. Okay, my number 60, Luke, Primeval Whirl. Why so high? Everyone's favorite ride, Primeval Whirl. Number 59, Beauty and the Beast live on stage. Number 58, Muppet Vision 3D. Yeah, I'm not too big on that one. I didn't grow up watching them, so I'm sure that has something to do with my ranking of it. But I actually, it's like kind of a charming show, but it's not like a must-do. I don't think like.
Yeah, it's not, especially not in that park.
You're right, especially now in that park. Number 58 was Muppet Vision 3D. Number 57, It's Tough to Be a Bug. Number 56, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Number 55, Mickey's PhilharMagic. Number 54, the Magic Kingdom Riverboat. Number 53, Epcot Forever. Number 52, Awesome Planet. And number 51, Fantasmic. So our list, I don't think so, no. Super different. What is your take on this part of the list?
So I think people's taste comes through in this part. Because like the top 20, it's like everybody knows what rides are going to be up there in shows. And then this stuff is like, what do you personally like?
You can't help it, right?
Because they're all equal, basically.
Right. You have to bring a little bit of your personal bias in.
Right. So like Tom Sawyer Island, a lot of people don't think about, but I went there recently before the park's closed. Yeah. I was like, oh, I haven't been here in probably a year. Let me go check it out again. And it's pretty cool to just like walk around, and it's weird to be in Magic Kingdom and be in like a quiet area because it's always so busy. Yeah, and it's just cool. It's really immersive, even though the theme is like, it's an easy theme to pull off, but they still do a really good job of making you feel like you are in the Frontier or Tom Sawyer's time, especially with the fort and the caves and stuff. I just forgot how much is put into that area back there. It's more than just like a playground.
Oh, for sure. I actually have that one a little bit higher than you do.
Do you? Yeah. I like it. Some of my other ones, like Lightning McQueen, the animatronic is awesome. That show's for sure geared towards little kids. when I first saw it, I was like, I'm not the target for this. But the animatronic is cool to look at, and it's bearable. And in a park that has a lot of long lines, it's nice to be able to jump into a show really quick. What else? Star Wars fireworks is fun because I love Star Wars. The Walt Disney Railroad, classic, relaxing time.
I have that quite a bit higher.
I knew you would have that higher. Turtle Talk. I know you talked about that lower.
Yes.
I like it better than Monsters Inc. because they only call them little kids, basically, that I've seen whenever I've gone in there. I think it's cool to see the little kids get so into it because they really do think that he's there and stuff, which is awesome. Yeah, Dumbo. It's iconic, I guess.
Oh, so Dumbo is in this section of this?
Yeah, 54. Wow. Winnie the Pooh is fun just because, I like Pooh Bear, and it's kind of funny.
I have that one higher than you.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
But because I have good memories of, us riding it and with friends.
Together,
yeah,
sure.
So that's why. But, yeah, what about you?
So, so your Primeval World was way down, right?
71. So really not too different.
Okay. So about 10, yeah. See, Primeval World gets a lot of hate, Luke. And I understand why it gets so much hate because, I've ridden it more than one time in a row, and I've gotten very, very sick. But I think if you just ride it once and you just sort of throw it into the rotation at Animal Kingdom, it's a nice little roller coaster to do. It's not too intense. It has cool theming.
Yeah, I like Dinoland, USA.
I do too. And that whole area gets a lot of hate, but I think people remember it out to be worse than it actually is. It's a really cool area, especially at night. And Primeval World is just a fun little roller coaster. It's not as good as Seven Dwarfs or Slinky Dog in terms of kids coasters, but it's still pretty fun. So Muppet Vision 3D, Tough to Be a Bug. I have both of those in this portion of the list because, quite frankly, 3D shows are just really bland, in my opinion. I like that those are not retelling of the movies, sort of like some of the other stuff on that you can find in that format. But it's just it's Disney, man. A 3D show. We can go to the movie theater at the random AMC up the street and see a 3D movie. It just, and I guess kind of they're 4D, right?
Yeah, it used to be cutting edge.
Right. Okay. So.
But they need to change it.
Yeah, for sure. And then also in this part of the list, I have Indiana Jones. Yours is higher?
It's high. Mine's higher. It's not that much higher, but I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your visit. But I would just so much rather see an Indy ride, in my opinion. Yeah, the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland in California is so good. For anyone who hasn't ridden it, it's basically just the dinosaur attraction, but same technology and everything, but with an Indiana Jones skin. And it is so good, and it always just makes me kind of sad when I see the stunt show, and I think, man, that'd be so cool to have that ride. But it's good. The stunt show is good. It allows you to sit down for a little while, in the shade, and it's very entertaining. So
give a chance to join it if you want.
Yeah, right.
Volunteer.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Some people really like.
Right. So there's definitely it has a lot of merit, but it just, like I said, you got to bring some kind of personal bias into this part of the list because there's just so many things that are at this level where it's kind of it's good, but it's not great. But anyways, why don't you hit us with your number 50 through 41? Oh, and just as a quick thing before we start this, so you did Mission Space as one, right? Orange and Green Mission?
Both missions, yeah. Did
No, I separated them out, so I think we're gonna have a little bit different, but that's okay.
Yeah, and then also what you were saying about Indiana Jones, because I'm gonna say that one in this part. I feel like for Hollywood Studios attractions right now, it's hard for them because they've got that park's been changed a lot.
Right.
Galaxy's Edge, Mickey and Minnie, and then you already had like Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster that are awesome.
Yeah.
Slinky Dog, Toy Story Land.
Identity crisis now,
Kind of. And then like the stuff that was okay before is not as much now because I think the level of quality and the reason that people are going to Hollywood Studios is to do those like 6 rides. So I feel like those rides suffer.
That's so true.
In a way where it's like, oh, I just did Rise of the Resistance and now I just went to this like Indiana Jones show that's from 95. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways, so my number 50 is Finding Nemo the ride at Epcot. Festival of Fantasy Parade.
Oh my goodness, that might be our biggest.
No, because there's one next that's gonna make you mad, and it might make some people mad.
Uh-oh.
Actually, the next 2 is gonna tick people off. Small World, Seven Dwarfs. Small World 48, Seven Dwarfs 47. Indiana Jones, Muppet Vision 3D, Tree of Life Awakenings, Epcot Forever, Frozen Sing Along, and then Fill Our Magic. I've just ticked off like half the fandom, but I will tell you one thing: I don't like Small World.
No, Luke,
Mary Blair does beautiful artwork, and I appreciate all that was done, but they should tear it down and put a new ride in.
How dare you say that, Luke? What? Okay, so what is it exactly about Small World that you don't like? Because I'll tell you right now, we have at least a difference of about 40 spots on this list of where my Small World is. It is safely in my top 10. Why do you not like it?
So, to me, it's just Magic Kingdom has so many rides that are so good. And that one, to me, is like an air conditioning break. It's just, like I said, it's pretty. I don't know. I don't care for it that much. I appreciate what it did.
So it doesn't hold up to the quality of that park?
No, I don't think so because it just feels old in a way. I don't know. There's just a lot better dark rides, especially in Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
I know if they were to tear it down, and they never will, but if they did, and they could do like a Tangled ride because the bathrooms are right there, which would be awesome, and I would love that,
Blasphemous.
and people would riot.
Blasphemous.
But give me a Tangled boat ride, and that would be awesome because that movie's underrated.
That movie's great. They should
Yeah.
make a Tangled ride, but
In
not
the Small World building.
No.
Right next to they're grooming that section, dude. If COVID didn't happen, maybe there was a shot, but now everything's stalled, so you're safe for at least another few years.
That would make me so sad.
I think people will be upset about Seven Dwarfs being that low too,
Yeah,
but
what you have it at
47.
47.
Yeah, because it's a minute and a half long. It's pretty. Again,
Yeah.
they're pretty and it's fun. It's just like the payoff to me. I can't in good conscience tell anybody to wait an hour and a half, 2 hours for it, and I surely will not.
Right.
But if I can get a fast pass, I'll do it. But anyways, do your turn.
All right, so I do want to go back to Seven Dwarfs because I have some questions. But okay, so where are we at? We're at
That's 47.
okay, so starting at number 50, right? I have Tom Sawyer Island. I agree with everything you said about Tom Sawyer Island. It's awesome. Number 49, I have the Star Wars fireworks at Hollywood Studios and sort of the other shows that they do on the Chinese theater. This one will make you mad, Luke. Number 48, Star Tours. I do not like Star Tours. I have not done the Rise of Skywalker since they redid it for that. Again, it's like the same argument I have against the Launch Bay. Why? why does it exist still? We have Galaxy's Edge. We have a better version of Star Tours in the Smuggler's Run, like a million times better. Why is it still a thing? I don't understand. Like, it's not bringing anything new to the table. As a Star Wars fan, it makes me mad that like they mix up the timelines.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Like, you can go from the prequel era to like the Rise of Skywalker era in the same. It makes no sense, and it's a very rudimentary simulator. And now that we have things like Soarin' and Flight of Passage, it's like it just feels dated in a bad way. Millennium Falcon, yeah, exactly. So that's why it's so low. Number 47. Pretty sure this one's going to be lower than yours too. Toy Story Midway Mania.
Yeah, that's low.
I do not care for that ride a lot. I think it's way overhyped. I can't put my finger on exactly why I don't like it very much, but it feels like one long video game, and the competitive aspects are really cool, but it's not like what I go to Disney for, is to like try to crush people in like, competitions. And yeah, so that's why that one's so low. 46, Walt Disney Presents. I think we touched on this earlier. I love that walkthrough attraction so much, and because I am so fascinated with Walt Disney, and I love how they sort of touch on the international parks and the history of those, and that's also something that's kind of near and dear to my heart too. So I love that one. But I understand your argument how the casual Disney fan probably wouldn't like it as much. So I sort of held back on putting it even higher on the list. And then after that one, I have 45, Canada Far and Wide. 44, Cali River Rapids. 43, Luke, Slinky Dog Dash. 42, Frozen Ever After. And 41, Mission Space Orange. So I split those two up. So I guess I should hit on Slinky and Frozen Dog. Slinky Dog and Frozen Ever After, because those are two that I find people generally like a lot.
Well, I know you don't like Frozen because of location.
Yeah, but okay, with Slinky Dog Dash, it's not even a good Disney ride. Like, it's not a good Disney roller coaster. All right, what's your opinion of Slinky Dog Dash?
I'm biased for all the Toy Story stuff because growing up as a kid, like, that was my movie.
Me too.
I loved them.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, even just the first time walking into Toy Story Land and thinking, wow, like, 6-year-old Luke would have crapped his pants at seeing, like, just walking in there. I like Slinky because it's quicker than I thought it would be when we first rode it. Super smooth, and at night, I just love the way the track lights up. I'm not going to pretend it's like the best ride in the parks. I just think it's probably the best family coaster in the parks as far as one that everybody can ride.
Wait, so
I don't count like Space Mountain as a family coaster.
but so you like Slinky Dog more than Seven Dwarfs?
Yeah, easy. Because I feel like it's longer. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But every time I ride Seven Dwarfs, I'm like, oh man, that's it. But Slinky Dog, I think it is longer.
It definitely.
And at night it's cool, and just going through like the Hot Wheels launch thing is cool. Seeing Galaxy's Edge, even though it breaks the theme, I don't care. It's cool. But dude, Toy Story Mania, you have it so low.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yours is higher than mine?
Yeah, mine's it's pretty high. It's almost top 20, but it's not.
Oh my goodness. Why do you like that one so much?
Because again, like memories of I'm super competitive, my brother's super competitive. And so that's a ride that like every trip it was like you did it and it wasn't fun time because it was like whoever wins is going to talk trash, but in the best way.
Right.
And it feels like a video game. It reminds me of like a Wii game, but in the best way. Like back in the day when the Wii was new and everybody thought it was the coolest thing, and you'd stay up all night playing like Mario Kart or Wii Tennis or something. Like that's what it reminds me of.
Right.
The competitiveness over the dumbest, most childish game. and I love it.
Okay, that's fair. I respect that. I respect all of your all of your opinions. But okay, Slinky Dog. Okay, I guess I should give my spiel on Frozen now. Okay, Frozen. There's two things I don't like, and number one, which is the biggest, why is it in the World Showcase? Why? It makes no sense. Because they need more traffic to the World Showcase, to Epcot. They need more kids there. I get that, but why couldn't you have had a Frozen ride where they're sort of like the Grand Fiesta Tour, where you have characters that people love that are taking you through like the history of Norway or something along those lines? This is just like a weird, like, kind of, you're going through the story points of the movie, but kind of not, like. And also, I don't think it's definitely a good ride. Like, it's definitely worth your time. And I don't want to crap on it too much, because all dark rides, I think that's what Disney does best, right? But I don't think it would even be a good ride if it was in Fantasyland. Like, I don't think. I would put it as a must-do, but the argument people always give is, well, if it was in Magic Kingdom and it wasn't in the World Showcase, then you would probably like it more. But I don't think it would be among like the better ones at Magic Kingdom. I think even then, Seven Dwarfs is better, Peter Pan is better, Small World is better for me, definitely not for you. But it just feels like Disney selling out, you know, and I just don't like getting that feeling when I go to the parks and it's like, well, this is definitely here because they wanted to cash in on Frozen.
I mean, Frozen, I think, became bigger than they thought.
Yeah.
And you can tell in the things that they did feel very Band-Aid-ish.
Yeah.
Because I think they thought it was going to be just another princess movie like Tangled or something.
Sure.
And do well, and we'll do a meet and greet, and it'll be good. And then it became a worldwide phenomenon, and they were like, crap, this is one of those special movies that we have to do, like, for whatever reason. I don't even like it, the movie itself, that much.
Oh, I really like the movie.
I thought the second one was better.
I have not seen the second one.
It's
I
so
need
good,
to,
dude.
but I actually very much enjoy the first movie. It's really good. It's very unique, but yeah, they definitely were not expecting it to be such a hit. It's overplayed. That one and Star Wars are very overplayed at the parks. And then so the other thing I wanted to hit on in this section, Slinky Dog Dash, versus Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think Seven Dwarfs is vastly superior. I think that is the best family coaster at the parks. I think it has like the indoor show scenes, like where you can. It's sort of like half dark ride, half roller coaster. And also, I don't think Slinky Dog. It feels like a Busch Gardens ride. It feels like a Six Flags ride. Like, it doesn't have that Disney heart and soul. Like, it's just.
Well, Toy Story Land doesn't have that.
No, that's true, and that's why I don't like it very much. But they're both good. I think Seven Dwarfs is a lot better. The theming is better. Yeah, it's really short, and yeah, the line is way too long usually. But if you can get a fast pass, I think it's one of the better family things to do there. All right.
I think too, real quick, like with Toy Story, because I was thinking about it the other day, like why? Because those movies I think are successful, and at least the reason I like them is because of the heart and soul in those movies. In Toy Story. But that's any Pixar movie.
Right.
And I think with lands, usually the lands are iconic in themselves. You know, like Pandora, the floating mountains.
Yeah.
I want to explore Pandora. Even though Galaxy's Edge is a new planet, it still feels like Star Wars. You want to explore it.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody really ever said, oh, I wish I could hang out in Andy's backyard. But everybody's been like, oh, I want to see Buzz, I want to see Woody. And that's why those meet and greets have long lines.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the land suffers in comparison to the other new ones, because there is no iconic land for that franchise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no object that's not a character that people care about in those movies.
That's a good point. Yeah. Star Wars, you had the Falcon.
Right, the Falcon, you turn the corner and you're like, holy crap, it's the Falcon.
Pandora, floating mountains.
Right, the weird plants and everybody watched the movie and was like, "Oh, that's incredible, that planet."
Yeah, for sure. I get what you're saying. Yeah, it just wasn't like it's not a good theme park thing to do.
I get why they did it, because
yeah,
everybody loves Toy Story, and it's been around for like since we were little, and now there's little kids watching it, so it has the staying power.
Exactly.
And I'm sure little kids love the land. Like I would have loved it when I was a little kid. But
I see what you're saying, though, for sure.
do you want 40? We're on 40, right?
Oh my goodness.
40 to 30. 40 to 31.
Yeah,
So
ahead.
these, I will say, from 40 on till 1, in my opinion, if somebody asked me, like, what are your must-dos, I would tell them these.
I agree with that.
From 40 up, for me.
Yeah, these are all very good attractions.
Like, if they missed out on any of these, I would feel sad for them.
Yes.
Okay, so 40, Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger Spin. 39, Grand Fiesta Tour. 38, Tiki Room. Then we have Living with the Land. The Tiger Trail, and then the Gorilla Trail at Animal Kingdom. Star Tours, Festival of the Lion King, the American Adventure Show, and then Canada Far and Wide Show. So mine's higher than yours.
Wait, you're telling me you like the sorry, you like the Canada Circle Vision more than American Adventure?
Yeah, because the end song I love. That's the only reason why I flipped them.
About the end song to American
Yeah, that one's good too, but I really like the Canada one because again with the dated stuff, it's so 90s. And also it's a shorter show, so you can do like I love American Adventure.
Okay, that's a good point.
But with Canada, like I can be walking by and we'll be like, "Oh, let's pop in and we'll be out in 15 minutes." And then also just like I have memories of doing that with friends. The Canada show a lot, and so it
That's fair.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's an easier thing to do, right? Because
it's like quicker.
American Adventure is higher quality, in my opinion, but you do have to sort of make it like you have to put effort into going to see it. Like you have to pick what time it's going to be a showing. That's true. Canada Far and Wide is it's just you walk right in and see it. Yeah, I don't know. The World Showcase, but it wasn't really, and not to go off on too much of a tangent, but the World Showcase is never going to be for kids, I don't think. It was never meant to be that, and I don't think it ever will. They sell alcohol everywhere in the World Showcase. They had the food and wine festival there. Like,
open bar at night.
Dude, it's so
not for kids when you go at night at festival.
Yeah, that's why like I don't get the Frozen thing or Ratatouille really. Like I don't know. That's a whole nother discussion.
I liked it.
Oh, at Paris you mean?
Yeah, it's good.
But it feels kind of universal ish.
It's not. The new rides we've gotten are a lot better than this one.
Yeah.
Expect,
Rise of the Resistance
or Mickey and Minnie even quality.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it's one of my favorites at like in the international parks for sure.
It was my favorite at Disney Studios.
Well, that part sucks. All right. So we're doing 40 through 31, right? Okay, so my number 40 is Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I love that ride. We've done it with friends together multiple times. 39, Hall of Presidents. Sort of touched on that earlier. 38, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. I think that's about, where you had it. 37, Walt Disney World Railroad, which is much higher than yours. It's just such a cool attraction to do. It has the history. It has like the no line / super long ride factor where you can just walk on and it's like a really and it has some cool like show scenes that you only get if you are doing the railroad, or I think the
same as the riverboat.
The riverboat,
I think
yeah.
they're both.
But definitely and this one that people forget about a lot. I didn't actually ride that ride until like in my 20s. I've been going to Disney since I was a kid, and I didn't actually ride that ride until I was in my 20s. And I think
Train station too.
yeah,
I like to just because it's not running right now because of Tron construction, but just sitting in the train station. Like one time, I just got coffee from Starbucks, and went up there in the morning. Nobody was in there, and I just chilled, listened to the music.
Cool,
It was so relaxing. They have like paintings that explain the history of railroads around. It was one of the best Magic Kingdom mornings I had, just alone,
That's awesome.
walking around, and yeah.
Yeah, like the train station is cool. It's just cool to like ride around the park. It's definitely, in my opinion, it's a must do. 36, I have Impressions de France. Oh my goodness. This one, I think, is probably the next two. Probably going to be a lot different from yours, but I have 36 Impressions de France, 35 Reflections of China, 34 Grand Fiesta Tour, 33 I have Seven Doors Mine Train, 32 Tree of Life Awakenings. I love that show. 31 Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. So yeah. So what your opinion of this part of the list?
We had quite a few that overlapped within the same 10. Not the same number, but basically, because these, again, I could switch back and forth. But, like, we have Gorilla Falls in there, Grand Fiesta Tour.
Yeah.
I'm
interested to see your where you put the China and France shows.
They're higher. American Adventure.
So you like Impressions de France better than American Adventure?
Yeah, I love that show because the music is so pretty.
It is.
And since they updid it to 4K, because they did that with the terrible show Beauty and the Beast, they upscaled Impressions de France to 4K, and that one runs at night. At least the last time I was there, it was like Beauty and the Beast would be from like 11 to 5 or 6, and then the rest of the night would be Impressions de France, which was good.
How glad are you that they didn't just totally scrap Impressions de France?
Dude, it's such a relief. But one time I was there for Impressions de France, and there was people behind me that thought they were going to see the Beauty and the Beast show. And so the show starts, and obviously it's not. And the guy leans over, and he's like, "Where are the characters? This is not Beauty and the Beast."
All these castles, bro.
And the girl was really let down because I guess it was her favorite movie or something. And so they left halfway through because she probably waited all day to watch that. But anyways,
That's sad.
the Gorilla Falls trail I love. I love all the trails at Animal Kingdom, both the tiger one and gorilla one. That's why I put them together.
Gorilla one more than the tiger one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the mood of the day too. But I like the Africa section of Animal Kingdom a little bit better than Asia anyways, so I think that might be why I usually spend a little more time there.
That trail is super cool.
They're both
So much to see.
awesome, and you could spend forever there.
For sure.
I like that kind of stuff too because you can choose how long it takes.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice of like, oh, we need to kill time or whatever, to be able to spend 20 minutes in there or 5 if you want to just do it real quick.
Yeah.
Grand Fiesta Tour is one of my favorites.
Where do you have that ranked?
39.
Okay, it's super close to mine.
Yeah.
It's just a fun
It's
ride,
just
right?
fun. Yeah. There's nothing special about it.
No, it's it should like it's weird characters. Like you don't really ever hear about those characters. I can't even remember what the name of that movie is, but that's the thing like that I was talking about with Frozen in Norway. Like it's sort of based around characters, but it still respects Mexican culture, and it sort of walks you through like some very basic rudimentary stuff about Mexican culture. And the animatronics are all really good. The set design is super cool. The color scheme is awesome. I really like that ride.
And going into the temple is cool. Riding the boat past the little restaurant that's there on the water.
Yeah.
Just walking around in there. They did a really good job making you feel like you're in a market in Mexico.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the best World Showcase pavilions, I think.
Yeah. And I think everybody knows it because it's always packed whenever you're over there.
Yes.
And then I don't know where you put Tiki Room and Living with the Land, but they're in that
Close.
for me.
Mine are just a little bit higher than yours.
They're really good. Tiki Room I really like, and especially the historical importance of like audio animatronics and stuff. That show, though, I'm not gonna lie, like oh, this is from the '60s or the '50s. Like there's nothing, and you got to be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes it just moves slower than our storytelling is now.
So do you think the Tiki Room in particular, because it definitely doesn't hold up as well as like a Haunted Mansion or Pirates, but do you think there's still some sort of like credibility to, like, do you think it has merit still, or do you think it's mostly coasting on the historical significance?
I think it's coasting on historical significance, to be honest, and I say it's a must-do because it's just iconic. Mm-hmm. It's a must-do in the way, even though it's not in that for my list, but like you gotta ride Dumbo.
Yeah, of course.
It's nothing special, but you gotta get the picture on it. You just have to, you gotta get the picture in front of the castle. Why? There's a million other pictures you could take, but you just have to.
Rite of passage.
Yeah, you just got to. So this, I feel like, is the same. That being said, Country Bears is way better, and I have it up higher on my list.
My goodness. That might actually be our most significant difference. Country Bears. I love that show. Okay, so you have Tree of Life Awakenings higher than mine, right?
No, you have it higher.
Oh yeah,
Mine's
yours
44.
is.
What's yours?
Mine is at 32. I really like Tree of Life Awakenings, and because a couple things, right? It's one of the only things that we've gotten in the past like 10 to 12 years, ever since Everest, right? Everest was sort of like the last big original attraction with no IP, no characters, like totally created from scratch. I understand Everest is a real mountain, but they totally created that whole experience from scratch. Yeah, no characters. And ever since we got Everest, dude, we have not gotten a whole lot in the way of original attractions with no IP. And Tree of Life Awakenings, I think, it's one of the only ones we've gotten, and it's so good. It ties the entire like Animal Kingdom night experience together. Which, why have they been holding back on us? Animal Kingdom at night is so good.
It's so much better.
I mean, yeah, now because you have Pandora, you have Tree of Life Awakenings, you have Rivers of Light, which isn't really that great, but still it's worth to see. And you have the Safari night edition, and
I like that the Tree of Life is like on a loop.
Yeah,
it's not a set time, which is cool.
Yeah, and so it sort of catches you by surprise. Like, I've gone to Disney and seen that show multiple times with sort of people who have never seen it or are kind of new to Disney, and they always have the same reactions, like, "Whoa, what is this?" Like, it catches your attention, and it is a really, really interesting use of that technology.
They've really, with the projection mapping, it's the way they do it, and it looks like they're coming out of the tree and stuff. Yeah. It's really well done.
It's so good. But anyways, why don't you hit us with 30 through 21? This is getting real. This is the really good stuff.
Now it's getting to where there's going to be big differences. Okay, so number 30 is Reflections of China.
Oh, okay.
29, Peter Pan. 28, Jungle Cruise. Carousel of Progress. Slinky Dog Dash.
Oh.
Navi River Journey. Country Bear Jamboree. Oh. Impressions de France. Frozen Ever After. And Toy Story Mania. Oh, there's probably none that line up.
We're going to have a couple. I think, see, the great thing about doing this with you is we have like 50% of our list is exactly the same, and 50% is like way, way different.
But when we go together, we always like the same stuff.
Yeah, that's the 50% of stuff we're like totally on the same page. Okay, so my number 30 is Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. 29, I have Mission Space Green. Now, I know you didn't separate these, but I know you like the green version better than orange, right?
Yeah, because it's actually fun. The other one's too intense. I don't know anybody. Well, I know 2 people that like the orange one, but that's it.
Right.
Does anybody like it?
No. See, the problem with Mission Space Orange is what it's going for. It hits it on the head.
Oh, it's well done.
It's super well done. The G-force, like, the problem is what it's going for is just, it's bad. Like, none of us have what it takes to be an astronaut in that intensity at a Disney park. It really doesn't make any sense.
It's too much. It's like based off the systems they actually train astronauts on.
That's what I'm saying.
And so it's just too intense. Like, that's their actual real job.
Yeah.
And our bodies are not trained for that, dude. Like, I just ate a soft pretzel in Germany, and now you're telling me, let's go, and I'm dehydrated from walking around in the Florida sun. But the green one's way better. It's so chill. It's like Soarin'.
Yeah, the green one is awesome.
You get a little bit of G's, but it's nothing crazy.
In actual, the story of the green one is better too, because it's like the Imagineer said, who worked on it, is basically like soaring over the world, because you get like you get the views of, like, okay, now this is Europe, now you're passing over China. It's super cool. All right, so that's 29. 28, Living with the Land. I think ours is similar. 27, Navi River Journey. Oh man, I love this ride so much. I wish it was a little bit longer. And now, you told me once that it's the same length as Flight of Passage.
It is. And I said that, and I was like, I don't know if that's really fully true. But I looked on YouTube, and they are. If you look at videos of just, like, from the start of the ride to the end of each attraction, not including pre-shows and stuff, they're the same. It's like four and some change.
But I think the problem with Navi River Journey, it's too short when you compare it to other rides of its kind, like other boat rides. Like Living with the Land, dude, is what, like 15 minutes? Like Living with the Land.
Like Pirates, what is that, 10?
Yeah, Pirates is way longer. Small World is way longer. Like it's kind of. Peter Pan is short, yeah. But for a boat ride, you kind of want that. It's sort of like that relaxing type of ride, and you kind of want it to be longer. So I get that argument, but the effects are just so good. The animatronic is so awesome. Like,
I think it is. It's just so relaxing too that you want it to be longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't want to get off.
Exactly.
And you're like, dang it, it's over.
Quick question: do you think that is the best animatronic in the parks? The Navi.
At the end.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think, because the Hondo animatronic is super legit.
True.
The ones in Rise of Resistance are really good too, but there is so much stuff going on. That Kylo Ren is the best. So basically all 3 of those, they're probably the same model, to be honest. The face on the Avatar, though, is way more impressive.
Yes. Because, Ren has
he has the mask, and Hondo is far away, so you can't really see it.
Yeah.
But he moves like a real person.
Mm-hmm.
They both move like real people.
Yeah.
They're probably the same model, to be honest, to compare them as...
Right. True. I think just for, like... I think the Navi one is better just because you're up so close to it.
I think so.
So you would be able to spot, like, any sort of flaw in the animatronic like that.
So big, too.
Yeah, it's huge, right?
It's like 6 feet tall, because he's supposed to be like a dude.
Right. But the Navi are freaking, I don't know, 10 feet tall or something like that.
I'll say the Navi one, I feel like more people are, like, in shock of.
Yeah.
The Hondo one is cool. It's really cool.
Right.
But it's just an alien guy.
It sort of just blends, because it's in the pre-show, too. I feel like it doesn't get as much love. But it's definitely good, too.
I heard one person behind me one time thought it was a real person.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, oh, is that an actor?
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, no, it's an animatronic, and they were blown away. So, I mean, if you don't know, I guess that would be more convincing, because he's like
true.
human size, like 6 foot tall.
That's true. Yeah. So one of those 2 are the best. Yeah.
Whatever you're feeling that day.
All right. So My 27 is Navi River Journey. 26 Soaring Around the World. I've got some thoughts about that one. I'll save those. 25 Maharaja Jungle Trek. That's the tiger trail in Asia in Animal Kingdom. 23 Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. I know you like that ride a lot. 22 Jungle Cruise. 21 Peter Pan's Flight. Yeah. So, all right. Give us some opinions about this part of the list. It's really starting to get good.
Okay. Country Bears for me, 24. Because, dude, that's Florida's show. It's so Florida when you watch it. Like, they made it for Disney World in mind.
Yeah.
The Tampa girls makes me laugh because that's where we live, basically. That's where we're from, kind of.
Right.
It reminds me of freaking jamboree that our church would throw. Like, that's why. It's just so much. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Florida. You know? It reminds you of some people that we know that play similar music. Yeah. It's so weird, and it's in a great way.
Oh, gosh.
Navi River we just talked about. Slinky I talked about. Carousel of Progress, super classic. I just wish they'd update the last scene.
So what number is your carousel?
27. What's yours?
Mine's at number 13.
Really?
Mine's up there, yeah.
I really like it. I just wish they would update the last scene or change it to be like, I've heard people give the idea where they like stop it at an era that we've already passed, like maybe the 70s or 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then they don't have to update it and be like, oh, it's the future. That way you can just keep it like, hey, it's from I guess you could do like the 50s to the 90s. That would be 4 scenes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could totally do it that way. Or you could have like sort of what Tomorrowland is now is like the future that never was.
Yeah, you could do that.
You could keep it along like a Jules Verne type of future. I think that would work too. There's tons of stuff you can do with it. The important thing is that they keep it and not scrap it for some other.
It's the line, though, so I don't think they'll get rid of it.
That's true. It is the only one that's.
Also, it should be in California. Like, I don't know why
It should be.
here. I'm
really
glad
should
it
be.
is because I get to enjoy it, and I've never been to California, but I feel bad for Disneyland.
Dude, the thing that replaced it at Disneyland is, well, I think it was originally something, I think like America Sings or something lame. Now it is Galaxy, it's Launch Bay. No. So quite a step down.
Living up to Walt's legacy.
Right? Okay, so, so this area of the list, like we touched on basically everything. Soaring Around the World, dude. You have it a little bit higher. If this was the original version of that, it's top 10 easy. I do not understand why the graphics are so distorted. And I don't understand why nobody's bothered to fix that.
Also, dude, the CG scenes, my Xbox One looks better than some of them.
Yeah.
Like the Taj Mahal.
The Taj Mahal in particular.
Like, come on, guys. You can do. I've seen what people can do.
Yeah. Also, I really don't think. Okay, I know it's like the same theme. It's the same music, but the flow of the music is much better in the original version. Like, there's a whole section of musical score in there in the California version that really hits like it's really good, and it really hits like an emotional trigger for you. And in that part of the score they just completely omitted. So they still have the main theme
because they change it based on the region.
Yes,
which is cool. Like the instruments they use, but it does take away from what you're saying, like the huge crescendo that we had. I listen to the California version a lot.
I still do to this day. It's one of my favorite pieces of music. No, the new one is cool because it has the different parts of the world, and it actually fits, I think, the theme of Epcot a little better.
Yeah, when they announced the change, I was all for it.
Yeah,
because they said, "Oh, that makes sense." But I thought they were going to keep California in California, because to me that made sense. Of, well, if I go to Disneyland, I'll ride that version, it's the same ride but different.
Well, they brought it back to California Adventure. I don't know if it's still there. It's not permanent, but they brought it back for a little while. It should be permanent in California.
You have and then that's a selling point. Come to California. This is why we have it on both coasts.
Right.
Because it's different.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything else about Soarin' Around the World? I know you like the original version a lot better.
Yeah. Nothing really more to say.
All right. So let's go 20 through 11.
Okay. So 20 through 11. So number 20 is Test Track.
Yeah. Same spot.
Nice. Yeah, that one doesn't get talked about enough. No. I feel like.
For sure, it doesn't get enough love.
Test Track Fantasmic at 19, which you had pretty low, I remember.
Yeah, so my Fantasmic is at 51.
So that's a big difference. To me, though, like we were saying with this part of the list being must-dos, I feel like it is one of those nighttime shows at Disney that, like, it's just a must-do. Everybody loves to see Mickey Mouse. And all the characters, when they come out on the boats and stuff at the end, it's just fun.
I don't know if it lives up to, like, that hype. I think there's better nighttime entertainment. Like, Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
The Tree of Life stuff. A bunch of stuff at Epcot. The old and the new stuff at Epcot. I don't know. It's just something about Fantasmic I'm not too big on.
I think, again, like for how e-ticket heavy Hollywood Studios is, I think it's a good cap to the day.
That's true.
So Fantasmic, then Soarin', which we just talked about.
Yeah.
Dinosaur at number 17.
Okay.
Super fun ride. People Mover at 16. Happily Ever After, 15.
Ooh.
Rock and Roller Coaster, number 14. Space Mountain, then Big Thunder, then Spaceship Earth, and then number 10 is Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Dang.
I wasn't supposed to say 10, but anyways.
That is a very similar list to what I have. All right, so number 20 for me is Test Track. That's at the exact same spot as yours. So you like the new or old version Test Track better?
I like the new version better.
I think I like the old one a little bit more, but the new one is still really good. And yeah, Test Track, it's weird, right? Because it always has like a super long line, but it's never one of those rides that people talk about. It's sort of it doesn't add up, but I think that's a really good ride, and I don't think it gets enough credit. It's like the perfect Epcot attraction, really.
And building your car is fun. No matter how many times you've done it, it's still fun to make like either a super cool car or like the most ridiculous car.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so my number 19, Festival of Fantasy Parade, which yours was in there. Which number was your festival? This is my favorite parade, 49. Oh my goodness, I love this parade so much. I think for me this is what like Fantasmic is to you, perhaps. Yeah. Like I love the characters. Like it's presented in such a great way. I love the float at the end with the dragon that spits fire. That
one's super cool.
Yeah, I love the music. I like the main theme song to the parade is so good. It's so catchy. Yep. I love that you get to see like it's sort of all the newer characters have like big prominent roles, but you still have the older characters that are there, like sort of at the end. Mickey's there, obviously. You know, you have like Snow White and a bunch of the older characters who are there too.
Peter Pan's float is super cool.
That's right. Peter Pan has his own float. I love that parade so much. Number 18, I have this one. We're definitely going to disagree on. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Is that top 10 for you?
Yeah, it is.
Number 17, I have American Adventure. 16, Rock and Roller Coaster. 15, Spaceship Earth. 14, Happily Ever After. 13, Carousel of Progress. 12, Dinosaur. 11, Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Yeah, basically pretty similar, just jumbled up.
Yeah, so we had Smuggler's Run, and American Adventure is the other one. You had that way down, right?
I had that at 32.
Okay. I think this show is it's like maybe even more so than Test Track. It's the perfect Epcot experience, and it's so well done. It is. It's such like a massive production, and I think the way they incorporate like animatronics with the background, with like the music and with the narration, it's just so well done, and it gets you a little emotional at the end. It really.
Considering its age, that it still holds up.
Yeah. It particularly the thing I remember about the show a lot is the end video when they flash through. I think it's like the 60s through present day. With the
90s ballad song. It's so good.
Yeah, with that music, it really gets you in the feels. I think it's a perfect thing for Epcot. It goes perfectly with the theme. It's educational, it's entertaining, it's emotional, it's the entire package. Okay, I'll let you save Smuggler's Run for your top 10 because I know you really like this ride, so I won't hit on that yet. But I think the rest of the stuff we have here is pretty similar.
Like Dinosaur.
Yeah. Do you have any like strong opinions on any of those, like the right before top 10?
No, they're just all really good. They're not obviously to me and to you. They're not like top 10 rides, but they're like your top 10s. So you're like, we have to do this, and then these are like, we really want to do these too.
Yeah.
They really add a lot to your day. Happily Ever After, I think it's just the best since Illuminations is gone. I think it's the best fireworks show.
So good.
It's just,
So good.
and even like, so my Disney fandom is mostly for the parks. Like obviously I love the movies, but
Yeah.
the parks is what I'm into. But Happily Ever After, like seeing some of those characters on the castle projected and just with the fireworks and the music, it like gets you in your feels a couple times. And they give credit to some that don't, like Hunchback is in it.
Yeah.
Like we don't talk about him that much, and that movie is amazing. Or like even Princess and the Frog, like the Pirates of the Caribbean scene, you know, where the castle looks like it's on fire. It's just, it's like the fireworks show in Orlando, and I don't care what anybody says.
Do you like it more than Wishes?
Yeah, 100%. Do you? Yeah, because Wishes wasn't that good. But Illuminations was the best show. Even when Happily Ever After was running.
It's close, dude.
Really?
I love Illuminations, but I still think I would have taken Happily Ever After a little bit more. But now, of course, it's the best.
Yeah. I mean, I have high hopes for the new Epcot fireworks show.
Yeah.
The, like, permanent one.
Right.
Better be good.
Oh, my gosh.
Because Illuminations punched you in the face from the start.
Dude, I know. That's the thing about once you get, like, these top, really, like, 20 through number one, they're all super good, but they all elicit, like, some kind of emotion. And I think that's, like, that's the main thing. That's why we love Disney, right? Like, that's, at its core, I think that's what Disney is about. That's why people love it. And that's what makes, like, these attractions that we're going to talk about in just a second, like, the best. Because they all elicit some kind of emotion. So, all right, why don't you go ahead with your top 10. I know this is going to be a little bit different from mine.
It'll be a little different, but I think we'll have some that are the same. So, number 10, Kilimanjaro Safaris. Number 9, Expedition Everest. Number 8, Flight of Passage. And I just realized that those three are all in the same park. And I didn't even realize that when I was writing them down. But Animal Kingdom is an awesome park. Number 7, Smuggler's Run. Number 6, Pirates. Number 5, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Number 4, Splash Mountain. Number 3, Tower of Terror. Number 2, Haunted Mansion. And then number 1, Rise of the Resistance. All right,
That's the other thing, man. I have not been on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So I can't in good conscience rank that, right? So I'm gonna have to leave that out. But I know it's supposed to be good. You obviously really like it, so I'm excited to ride that one. So my top 10 is gonna be without Mickey and Minnie's, unfortunately. But all right, so starting at number 10, Big Thunder Mountain. Number 9, your favorite, It's a Small World. Number 8, Pirates of the Caribbean. Number 7, Space Mountain. I know that's quite a bit higher than yours, probably.
13.
Okay, not that much. Number 6, Expedition Everest. Number 5, Tower of Terror. Number 4, Splash Mountain. Number 3, Haunted Mansion. And here we're going to disagree quite a bit again. And probably I'm in the vast minority on this, but I am looking forward to defend my position. Number 2, Rise of the Resistance. Number 1, Avatar, Flight of Passage. All right, Luke, hit me with the opinion of your top 10.
Okay, so my like bottom 3 of the 10: Kilimanjaro, Everest, and Flight of Passage. All Animal Kingdom. That park's just so well done. All those rides, like you were saying, especially Flight of Passage, can bring out the emotions. Especially without spoiling, if you haven't gone on it, there's just a part where you're like you dive down and you're flying, and the music hits, and it's just all perfect. That Avatar music. And just the view, and just that you're like, wow, I feel like I'm flying.
Yeah,
is crazy. Kilimanjaro safaris is an experience that you just won't get unless you go to Africa, which is cool. And I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to go to Africa. It would be awesome, but for now, this is a good substitute. Right. Everest is a super fun roller coaster, and that one is close to my heart because that was what like kickstarted me getting into theme parks as a kid. Yeah, like in middle school, I remember. It was coming out. They were building it, and we were going, and it happened to be like after they had just opened it. And my uncle, I was over at my uncle's house, and he was like, "Hey, I just found this like Travel Channel show about how they built this ride. Do you want to watch it? Because we're gonna go in a couple months." That's awesome. So I watched it, and I was like, to that point, I had been to Disney before, but not that much, and Busch Gardens I'd gone to a lot. But I didn't know that you could like do roller coasters that were intense and like so well themed. Yeah. Until that I watched that show, and that kind of like I was like, whoa, this place is different. Yeah.
I think Everest might be the best themed roller coaster of all time.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah, and to me, just like that revelation of a kid of like, because I'd been on Big Thunder and stuff, and those rides are awesome. Yeah. But when you're in middle school, all you care about is like, how fast can I go? You know? And I was like, whoa, this ride goes backwards, and it looks like a mountain, and there's a Yeti, you know? When all I had been on was like SheiKra and stuff, which is fun. No knock on Busch Gardens, but it's just a red roller coaster. Anyways, yeah, Smuggler's Run I really like.
Yeah, okay, so mine's at 18, and yours is at what, 8?
7.
So what do you like so much about this ride?
So, again, just like growing up Star Wars fan, I feel like it's every kid's dream to walk in the Falcon. And when you're in Galaxy's Edge and you come around the corner and you see it, you're like, there it is, in full size. It's crazy. And then you go in, and you're like, oh, man, I'm walking around in the Falcon. Really cool. They're like, hey, you can hang out till we call your color. And you're like sitting at the chess table, you know. Yeah. And then you go into the cockpit, and if you're the pilot, it's super fun. If you're the other positions, it's not as fun, I'll admit.
Especially with the engineer?
Yeah, the engineer's not that fun. Yeah. It's also way more fun if all of your party can fill in the cockpit, if you're going with at least 5 or 6 people. Just because you are controlling it, and you don't want to leave it up to a stranger how your experience goes.
That's true.
The first time I rode it, I went with 5 people, so it was okay. We filled it all up. Okay. But yeah, I just love it. Just being in the Falcon, just flying it, hitting the hyperdrive. It's like super cool. It's going into hyperspace. It's so cool.
That is really cool. But okay, the thing about Smuggler's Run that I'm not quite on board with all the way is like the interactivity. Is that how you would say it? Like the interactiveness of the ride. I mentioned it earlier, but like, I don't know. I think that it's only for like a certain percent. Like that ride is awesome, so it doesn't really affect how I feel about it too much because that ride is just so good. You're right. The Millennium Falcon set, like in the beginning, is so cool, especially like for us, we're huge Star Wars fans. Yeah. That is really cool. But I would rather just sort of sit back and take in the action, and I'm not really. I don't know if I'm in the majority or the minority in that, but I don't care for the interactive elements so much, and I don't think that affects this ride. Like I said, too much, but I think that's maybe what's keeping it out of the top 10 for me. I don't know. But we definitely, so looking here, we definitely had a bunch that are really similar. Everest is, what was it for you?
9, but yours is...
Mine is 6. I really think it is the best themed roller coaster of all time anywhere. Tower of Terror, dude. Oh my goodness. Such a great ride.
Pirates, where do you have that?
Pirates for me is number 8 in for you.
6. So about the same.
Splash Mountain, I know we both have near the top. Yours is... Oh, it's the same. We're both 4. Splash Mountain, dude. Quintessential Disney ride, right?
Just like, you think of a Disney ride, for me, Splash comes to mind.
Yeah. It has the music. It has the animatronics. It has a little bit of the thrill element. It has the water. It has a great story. It's long. The line's usually not too bad. The outside is cool. Yeah, unless it's like 90 degrees out. No cloud in the sky. Yeah, it's Haunted Mansion we both have up there, right?
That's number 2.
Yours number 2.
But I mean, I think that's the best themed dark ride at the parks.
More so than Rise?
Oh, yeah. See, I never think of Rise as... I guess Rise is a dark ride.
Yeah.
But it's so different from anything else.
True.
As far as classic rides.
Haunted Mansion is one of the... It's weird. It holds up extremely well. It was built in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken. And it was one of the rides that Walt himself had sort of like a lot of influence on.
It was opening day for Disney World too, right?
I believe it was. Yeah, because they it was an add-on for Disneyland. It was part of New Orleans Square,
Right.
which Walt actually did have a lot of say in.
It took quite a while for them to build.
Yeah, it took a few years to open. And there's just something special about Haunted Mansion. Like it's one of those things where you can't quite put your finger on why, but it's so interesting. The art, like the set design is just so weird, but like weird in a good way, to where you're trying to decipher like what does all this stuff mean? Is there like a meaning to it? Is there supposed to be a story, or is it just, are we supposed to take it at face value? It's just weird stuff happening. But yeah, but obviously it's your number 2.
Yeah. So I just think, again, it's one of those that I think is just like quintessential Disney ride.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Magic Kingdom and you didn't do Haunted Mansion, I don't know what you did all day.
Yeah.
Like
the worst mistake you could possibly make.
Right, and I think like it's so well themed with Liberty Square and just like it's similar in
like on a hill.
Yeah.
It's very like the whole vibe is just very weird and spooky, like, but in the best way possible.
Yeah, like similar to Tower of Terror, where you like the story starts like when you walk up to it, because you're like, oh, here's this creepy hotel,
for sure,
and you're walking through the grounds, and sometimes they have fog at Tower of Terror, and the same thing with like this, you're like, oh, this is creepy mansion, and you're walking through and you see the like gravestones, and I don't know, the stretching room is iconic, and
there's so much to it. There's so much detail. But okay, I would like to defend my position. I have Rise of the Resistance at number 2 and Flight of Passage at number 1.
You're probably in the minority of a lot.
I am definitely in the minority, and I was thinking about this the other day. Rise of the Resistance obviously is one of the greatest attractions Imagineering's ever built, that anyone's ever built in the entire history of theme parks. I think on a technical level, it is the best ride in Walt Disney World, possibly out of any theme park in the world. But at the same time, dude, I think the reason I like Flight of Passage a little bit more is I think Flight of Passage has a little more heart and soul. Like, on a technical level, nothing's ever going to top Rise for quite a while, but Flight of Passage, it has a little bit more like something is going on there. And I was trying to think of like what exactly because it elicits such an emotional response when you go on that ride. And I think it's like a combination of a lot of things. I think it's like the pacing of the ride is so good. And you kind of hit on this earlier where it's not just a bunch of action. It's not just like, it doesn't drag in any part. It feels like one like super well flowing like visual story. The use of music is incredible. Like it doesn't kick in. Not for a while. It kicks in at the exact right moment to really hit you in the feels. The ride system is awesome. And I think like people sort of forget about that, but it makes it feel like it's sort of like you and your pet banshee like going on this like ride together. I think that adds a lot to it, but I think the thing that I like about it the most, and I think why it stands out so much to people, is the story. Like the story of the attraction is so good. Basically, the story is the Na'vi people have welcomed us like on their planet, and they're going to let us participate in their like age-old traditional rite of passage of flying on a freaking dragon over the mountains of Pandora. And like right away, I think that story, it just gets you so pumped. Like you're going on like this celebrated rite of passage with a bunch of other people, and you have like your own Na'vi guide, and the whole thing just feels like one big like celebration. And yeah, like all things combined makes it amazing, but I think that's one of the best parts about it. And like I said earlier, I think like the core reason why people like Disney is because of the way it makes you feel, because of the depth of emotion that it can make you feel. And I think more than any other ride in Walt Disney World, Avatar Flight of Passage makes you feel the most, and that's why it's my number one. But yours is Rise of the Resistance. Why is it your number one?
Yeah. So Rise is my favorite, number one, just because being a big Star Wars fan. But I feel like Rise was a ride that Disney needed a lot to kind of put to rest a lot of the comparisons with competitors that happens with Disney, because I feel like Flight of Passage is amazing, and it is one of the best rides in the world. But I feel like Imagineering needed to make a ride like Rise to really show that they still are the best, and that there is no contest. I mean, Universal's putting out some great stuff, some really cool stuff, but I think that it was good for Imagineering to be able to like take the gloves off and be like, we'll do it. We will make something that you can't, that's not, because I can't even describe it without spoiling it, but it's not like any other ride that you've done. And that's not just like marketing, you know, because essentially every other ride is like, I've done this system before, but Rise takes like several ride systems. Same thing though, like the emotional response. I went on it opening day with a friend, and we came out, and I was like, dude, I was about to tear up at a couple parts. Like, just seeing things. You see an army of stormtroopers, and you're in like a Star Destroyer. Yeah. That is cool. And you're just like, I'm in a ship in space, and then like in the ride there's people shooting at you, and just things that like you didn't know could happen without 3D glasses happen, and you're like, whoa, they just shot freaking lasers at me, and it went past my head. So I just think, yeah, like that, it just hits you in the feels. Everybody that comes off of it is so excited, so happy and pumped, you know. Yeah. But I agree with you with like Flight of Passage, like those rides, they hit you emotionally, and that's why I think they're the best, and that's why people are willing to wake up at 4 a.m. to get a boarding group for Rise, and I think that's why people are willing to wait, 3 hours for Flight of Passage. Yeah. I also had Mickey and Minnie pretty high, which I know you haven't done. It's number 5, but 2, like that one, without spoiling it and stuff, it's not as emotional as those. Actually, not really close emotionally, but just like that Mickey is so iconic, and the ride system is super cool, being a trackless dark ride. And it's very unique in the way that they didn't try to make it look real, instead leaning into the animated side to make you feel like you're in an animation was really unique and something cool that I hadn't seen before. Because most rides, they are like, we'll take this and make it look real.
Yeah.
But this one was like, no, we're going to make you look like you're in a cartoon.
That is interesting.
So everything around you is like, you can see the lines that would draw that. Like there's a lamppost and it's got black lines, which is very interesting. So yeah.
Well, that about wraps it up. We did it. We ranked every single attraction. And maybe next time we go to the parks, you can ride It's a Small World and give it a little bit more love, which it does.
We'll ride it together, but that will not be my first ride back after COVID.
Well, that about does it for us, guys. Thanks for watching us rank, like the true Disney nerds we are, every single Disney attraction at Walt Disney World. Next time out, maybe we'll rank something else. Maybe the lands, maybe the World Showcase.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.